Good day, dear friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Tuesday for our, this is a 2 p.m. Eastern version. We got to get a lot of our EU folks and a lot of people from elsewhere who they have a hard time joining the live wherewithal at night. And by the way, I don't think I've ever been this excited. And I'm not saying that gratuitously, I mean it. There's so much going on right now. So before we begin, let me ask you this, the gratuitous. Number one, please remind you, please like this video. Like. It is critical. That's the lifeblood. That puts us in the HOV lane, so to speak. It's so critical, so important that you like us accordingly. Also, make sure you are subscribed and a part of the nation, because we've got loads of luminaries and big shots coming on board, live and in color, including, that's right, Ms. Candace on the 26th. Right here, my friends, a noon. So it's a big day. People are rallying. We're gonna have a lot of motorcade. It's gonna be incredible. We're gonna have she won't be there, but I'll be in the motorcade. I'll be by myself, but it's a motorcade nonetheless, with banners aplenty, because right now we are we are motivated by so much that is going on. Now, before we begin, we have seen, my friends, as of late here in New York City in particular, a veritable rise of insanity regarding riots, and it's not just here, but it's around the world. There's this idea that mayhem and disaster are okay. Well, I don't think it's okay. But here's the question I've been asking for the longest time. Forget emergency food, which is critical. Forget generators, which is critical. Forget being able to live 30 days off the grid, which is critical. If you just had to leave, I mean, something happens. Wildfires, werewolves, lycanthropy, whatever you want to call it. Do you have something ready to go, a bug out bag that doesn't have a bunch of dehydrated banana chips and some jerky? No. You say, that's a good idea. Well, where do I go and get this? Where do I get something that's got everything you can imagine? Funny you should ask. Watch this. When disaster hits, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall back on what you already prepared. Wildfires, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, blackouts, EMP and grid attacks, riots, disaster. Get it? And when the warning comes, there's no time to search for flashlights or bottled water or first aid supplies while your family waits at the door. That's why My Patriot Supply created the fully stocked bug out bag. You've got to get this. It's a rugged, grab-and-go tactical backpack packed with 60 emergency essentials, including food, water, shelter, fire, starting tools, lighting, first aid, and more. Everything is already packed and ready right out of the box. Keep one in your car, your home, your RV, your office, your cabin, because the emergencies never make appointments. And right now, you can get $100 off plus free shipping for a limited time. So act now. There will be no special invitation in life. Disaster always comes unannounced. Get prepared now. Go to preparewithlionel.com. That's preparewithlionel.com and click the link today. All right, my friends, thank you so very much. I can't wait to get started. First of all, welcome. Look at the new folks we've got here. We've got Pierre. It's so far away. Pierre, there you go. Thank you. Welcome. Patricia joins us. And look who it is, Anthony Guerrayo. Ooh, I like that. Interesting accent. Armchair quarterback shows up. We've got, again, these names. And this one, her name is Kai. Kai joins us. We got Sherry Mercado. We got Slip. Look at everybody. And Nikki is here. And please forgive me. I'm sorry for not being able to read, because I have a laptop and then things. And even on my glasses, I can see pretty well. I can't make that out. But thank you. Well, there's Dave. Davis is there. This is incredible. Welcome to the show. I can't say it enough. Welcome. I mean to tell you, welcome. So today it was we I don't even know where to start. Let me see if I can start off by saying something which I think is pretty important, pretty interesting that a lot of people don't sometimes grasp. But I'll see if I can explain this. I am of the opinion and have been saying for the very longest time that everything is happening at levels I cannot even imagine. Grazie. I and I'm not just saying this, I'm not being gratuitous. It's changing. Name the level. But first, we are seeing something which I never thought possible. The other day, when doing a live, somebody said, I can't believe I thought you liked President Trump. I say, oh, would you shut up? What a child. What a child. This isn't the. Very frankly, the question is not whether I like President Trump, it's whether President Trump likes me. Because I'm the boss, he's my servant. I know that sounds corny. I know nobody really believes that. I do. I believe it 100%. You work for me, or you're fired. I don't care who you are. I may love you. I may love you to death. Tracy, by the way, Tracy, look at this. Tracy Catio, whatever. I can't ever read this. I'm so sorry. You know why? He's got Kash Patel eyes. He don't know where to. Anyway, we may love you. If you run for office, it's like, okay, but understand something. Understand, you work for us. You work for us. You work for us. And if something goes wrong, that's the way it is. So the latest innovation or version of this is Candace Owens, and I think I know people are saying, are you talking about her again? Yes. Have you not noticed she trends every single day on X? What's X? Get out of here. So the other day, I think this really happened. She says, I'm going to send a FOIA request to find out where Kash Patel was for a 3-day period. That's all. She probably thought nothing of it. She thought, like most people thought, this is just for those of you elsewhere, Freedom of Information Act, which is so pro forma. There are divisions within every office that handles nothing but FOIA requests. It's very simple. And they'll give you just enough for you to know. Kash Patel's travel schedule. Whenever they put it out there, they know this is going to be FOIA worthy. So they're just going to be able to push a button and there it is. So anyway. So without going through the specifics, Candace Owens and her team sends this FOIA request. They get this snarky thing back, which basically says, I'm sorry, this is not substantive. It's too all-encompassing. You have to narrow it down. She says, for the love of God, it's 3 days. What are you talking about? So she writes, on her ex, she says, they denied us this. And by the way, there's this, it wasn't deny, we're not going to answer your question. It was deny within the 20-day period or whatever it is. The point is, this is the FBI, home of what used to be J. Edgar Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover, say what you want, whether he dressed or not. And Clyde Tolson, look at this freedom. They're coming out of the woodwork, my friend. God bless folks. But what is the most important is that J. Edgar Hoover said I think he fired somebody who had a red tie on. He said, agents don't wear a red tie. And the worst, I know for a fact, he was in an elevator, and one of his agents had like a zit or acne or something. He said, you're fired, or send him to Anchorage or some field office. You're the FBI. We act in a way of decorum. So what they did was, and you can read, Candace does it better. You can read for yourself. This snarkily, some twit, some impudent, petulant child, maybe off her Adderall, writes this snarky thing. I'll use it for clickbait. And it's like, what? This is on an official and I did a video on this. You can hear it as to the specifics of it. But as to merely inquiring their level of impudence and rudeness and snarky troll-like fed slop panjandrum-esque this bilge to a citizen who merely had the unmitigated audacity to ask where the director of the FBI was. Was he there? The planes or whatever? What you don't have to justify why. Why do you want to know that? This is the level we're at now. This is the level. It is. So basically what they did was, listen, pal, listen. Bug Eyes is going to find out real quick. She is going to break it off in him. A good and a great and a wonderful hola, ¿qué tal? To our friend in Spain. Thank you. Marel. As we say, González. I don't do the theta, but I should. Barcelona, but I should. Muchísimas gracias. All right. R. Castillo. Now, she just said basically, okay, get ready. Get ready. We will take you on. We will take you on. Go ahead. And of all people, Kash Patel, who is an embarrassment, not to the FBI, but to humanity. Kash Patel is frightening. Dear God, frightening. And what he is doing right now, what is so incredible, is he doesn't understand what a joke he is. What a joke. That's the part. You think somebody would say, what are you doing? Texas Beach Girls has finally caught you live. Long time no see. I was wondering where you were, Missy. I was wondering where you were. And also again to Marella, excuse me. Marella Peterson. 3640. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you so much. Now, I think I knew everything until I say this. Until I say, my God, I don't understand how people really don't understand how things work. I really don't understand how things work. It makes no sense. Oh, ahora español, mexicano, por favor. Tijuana tacos are un fuego. By the way, it's Tijuana, not Tijuana. That drives me crazy. Anywho, so she now is saying, bring it on. Bring it on. So that's a part of it. Let me see if I can go through all these things, let you know. That's over here. Okay, that's kind of fun. We'll talk about that later on. Candace is going to just go for broke. Because this one dropped out of, this just dropped out of evidence. Ben, oh, get to Ben. Kash, it's kind of the same thing. Kash, are you really serious? Do you really want this? You really want this? By the way, remember this. 26, Friday at noon, 26, Candace will be with us live. Also, Friday, Sabby Sabs, right here at 11, I think 11. Anyway, check. I think it's 11. Anyway. Oh, just let you know also, Tucker said, yeah, but he's got to get back with him maybe the first part of June. The most elusive one is Uncle Buck, his brother, who is a wild man. Huh? I'm sorry, July. Thank you. So anywho, so that's over here. That's over here. Okay. This is here. This is here. Okay, you got it. Okay. This is the moment. Now, what's also the most important part, which is also very, 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 very critical, is to understand what is happening with the rest of the world. What is happening regarding the rest of the world? This is so, so, so critical. Cannot say this enough. Cannot say it enough. Cannot possibly say it enough. This is the most important thing in the world. My friends, as you know, in order to really understand what it is that we're doing, we've got to understand a couple of things here. And that is simply this: that there's politics, there's culture, there's religion, there's morality, there's all these concomitant forces simultaneously occurring and happening at levels that are very, very difficult for you to figure out. May I suggest to you that you understand, and most important, may you understand that there are people here, and this is very, very difficult. There are people who do not understand the complexity of this, and they will call you every name under the sun should you ever question what it is that is going on here. Okay? So right now, Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, Barry Weiss, and a passels, dare I say, passels of individuals who want or who do not understand our interpretation, dare I say, of the notion of America first. And what they want to do is they see any type of veering away from the directives, not from the Trump administration, not from Congress, not from here, but directives as to how the war against Iran or the Middle East should be handled. Any veering, any divergence from that is met with absolute, unbelievable hysteria and insanity. Let me see if I can explain it this way. And I want you to explain or understand this notion. As you know, we have been told for the longest time that if you so much as veer, and I mean veer, from anything but a rubber stamp of how we are handling Iran, or in providing unlimited funds, unlimited armament, unlimited weapons, unlimited everything to Israel. You have been told this, that if you so much as even question this, and if you dare bring up whether this comports with America first, you have been told by many people that you are, not only are you just a bad person, but you are anti-Semitic. You're told this. And it has officially run out of gas. That trajectory, that argument, like anything else, whether it's a bullet or it's anything, a baseball, you throw it, and it just, by virtue of drag and gravity, it just stops. It doesn't make any sense anymore. We have been insulted too long by people to suggest that my discussions with my president regarding my and our money, our influence, our bombs, our weapons going elsewhere, this is of no business of anybody else and any other country but me, us, and our president, period. And for you to suggest that the same argument that is used regarding Ukraine or anybody else, or the 800 bases roughly in 80, 90 countries, who even knows? The same thing. If I don't want to have troops anymore in Europe, am I anti-European? No. That trope, that connector, it doesn't apply anymore. And people are going berserk. And we have said flat out, stop with this nonsense of our being anti-Semitic. It's an insult. I won't take it anymore. It doesn't make any sense. But when you watch cable news, when you watch Usual Suspects, that's all they've got. They will never explain to you. Well, see, here's why it's critical that we continue to destroy Iran, or Lebanon, or destroy Hamas. This is what Hamas, right, or Hezbollah, or the Houthis. It's never that at all. You must take this, not question it, and that's it. They tried this with Ukraine, but that didn't work. Remember that? They tried that with Ukraine, but it didn't work. They said, "You understand it? You're right. You're a Putin apologist." Oh, stop it. So this trajectory is just done. It's done. It's over. And what's going to happen, and I respectfully submit that we talk about Miriam Adelson and AIPAC, whatever, I still think the number one, the most powerful lobbying group ever is not AIPAC, is big tech. Big tech is worse than, forget, anyway. So let me tell you what's going to happen next. And this is what's critical, and this is what you must understand. The signing of the Memorandum of Understanding, the MOU, is Friday. They say it is Friday. And if it is indeed Friday, we have to ask the following question. If it is not considered to be, by the way, it's like a page and a half. The original JCPOA, and remember the original Obama plan. The original plan, I always forget what it stands for. The JCPOA, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. This was 2015. It was against Iran and the P5+1, China, France, Germany, Russia, UK, and US. Remember that one? Okay. And you have been told, and we have been told, that this was the worst thing that ever happened, that Obama sold out and we capitulated and all this kind of stuff. Okay, fine. Irrespective of any of that stuff, irrespective. What I am afraid of, and a lot of people are afraid of, and I was watching a lot of commentary that you will never hear on any kind of cable news. I am so afraid of something drastically, absolutely happening at a level, and I mean this, at a level of somebody saying, we're going to sabotage this. Now is the time to be very, very careful. And everybody is on pins and needles, tenterhooks, ready for this. Remember, between now and Friday, and then afterwards, these are serious times. I mean, really serious times. And Candace is going to be talking about this. Marilyn says, by the way, Erica wants fame to be widely known, recognized, or talked about by the public media. Fame is the game. Love the show. I laugh a lot and almost fall off my bicycle. Thank you. And I'm glad. Thank you. And I'm so glad, which is important. Okay. This is the most important thing for us to understand. This is very important. Now, the next thing that's happening right now is Erica, speaking of people going crazy, is about to lose her mind because that trajectory is also gone. It is gone. You understand what I'm saying? Gone. She came along, she just came out of nowhere, and she's still fighting. And every time she speaks, every time she opens her mouth, every time she tries to clarify something, I don't even know what she knows what she's doing, is she makes matters worse because she does not have the mental wherewithal, the collective wherewithal to understand what it is that she's saying. It's something that is beyond any. They don't even know what to say anymore. And you can see what they're saying by looking by addressing Candace. Candace is all they're saying about her is she's evil. She's evil. She's evil. She's evil. She's evil. This is where this works. She's evil. I don't even know what that means. What do you mean she's evil? What kind of an argument is that? She's evil. She's evil. That's it. That's all they have. And it's going to get even more interesting because this is going to be something critical. Now, many people might ask, what are you talking about her? What does she do? Let me try this for the umpteenth time. Because remember, a lot of times you talk about people who don't know what they're talking about. They weigh in for the first time. They don't know anything about the Middle East. They don't know anything about the war. They don't know anything about the Constitution. They don't know anything about news. They just weigh in and they think like they're sitting around at a bar just talking to the guy next to them, having a drink. They think that somehow they can weigh in even though they don't know what they're talking about. Okay. What's going to happen, which is so critical more than anything else, is that a couple of things are happening. Number one, Candace, again, is looking at investigation, is looking at very carefully accusations and suggestions that the means of dispatch that Charlie went through, the means of his elimination, might not have been gunshot, but might be best explained as was intimated by those who suggested that the microphone or the lav or whatever it was might have been part of this, either a directional weapon or some type of minor explosive. And Candace went into detail explaining, and this is so complicated. This is, imagine here's a string, okay? And I'm going to tie the first knot. I'm going to say this knot is going to be the president with his assassination attempt at Butler. Okay? Next knot, the investigation into the investigation. We never really went anywhere. What was that about? The next knot. Now the knot is becoming Gordian. It's becoming more. The next knot is we find out now that he said, I don't want there to be, just stop the investigation. Stop it. How does this work? Next, it is being suggested that one of the reasons why he was told, or why he ordered the investigation to stop, was that it may indeed indicate or show or involve other people, other countries, other intel organizations. Then another thing is, put that, a new knot, but we'll lace it in. Now we have the case of Tyler Robinson. Why is the Kash Patel case so important? Here's a new knot. Tyler Robinson case was interesting because the FBI immediately jumped and slammed again in this most unprofessional, most impudent, most rude means possible. What it did was it moved in and it attacked the people who suggested this in ways that you couldn't believe what we were seeing, by virtue of the fact that they acted so quickly. They acted so quickly to refute anybody who questioned it, but they still haven't provided any of the information that Tyler Robinson's defense needs. And by the way, we haven't heard too much from the defense. I don't know what that's about. So you see what this is? You see the levels of complexity of this? Now we're going to have, well, what are you finding out? What are you doing, Kash? Why don't you lay low, Kash? Now what you've done is you've basically gone up to Candace and you've slapped her. Okay, you're on the shit list now too. Let's go after it. The only problem is that she's got millions and millions of people, and people who can deep dive. Every time you've ever farted in public, she's got somebody, not in her employ, but somebody that she's able to talk to and work with, who would do nothing and love nothing more than to come to her aid. Come to her aid and say, we're going to help you, but we're also going to do this to find out what happened to Charlie. Are you following this? It's wild. Nobody on nobody on Fox News cares the least about this. Nobody is talking about this. She's talking about it. She's talking about this at levels you can't believe. And they're at the end of their trajectory. Listen to that. I saw somebody sent me that morning crew or that Fox morning. Oh my God, this kindergarten clique of, I don't know what this is. Here is Sharon. Sharon says, hi, El. Sir, could Candace Owens also file as a victim, as a close friend, and could stop the speedy trial? No. Your show of Mrs. Ellie's love from London. Thank you. The answer is no. Let me explain. Under the 6th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, a suspect, a citizen, anybody, is guaranteed, inter alia, among other things, a right to a speedy and a public trial. The public trial comes into effect when you look at people who make references to whether there should be cameras in the courtroom. One of the reasons why people want there to be a public trial is that we don't want our criminal courts to be star chambers in the middle of the night, in some basement or some cafeteria like Ceausescu, some kind of lunchroom justice. It doesn't work that way. Speedy trial, obviously, we don't want somebody just languishing about. In the state of Utah, normally, in the country for that matter, the defendant holds that right. He is the holder of the right, he or she. They can demand a speedy trial. They have that right. Speedy trial actually works sometimes against them, but so it is not anybody who asks for a speedy trial other than the defendant. However, Utah has a unique situation. I don't know if other states do this as well, but they will have the provision where you can petition the court in an advisory commission that says, by the way, Judge, we're here too, and we as a victim or victims of the crime would like you to speed this up to consider our wherewithal. It's almost pro forma. It doesn't really apply. It's not mandatory. You can't undo it because the people who they're going to look at, first of all, more importantly, they're going to blame, not blame, but they're going to protect, I should say, a defendant. So Tyler, they would consider, we're going to consider your right to a speedy trial first. And by the way, if you want to waive that speedy trial, or if you're going to say, it's not that I don't want a speedy trial, I haven't even gotten my discovery yet. And don't forget the Supreme Court case of Brady against Maryland, which says specifically, you must turn over exculpatory evidence lest you suffer a reversal of the conviction. It is per se irreversible error if you don't do this. So now you've got Tyler, who's going to say, I want a speedy trial, but you haven't given me my information. You've got Kash Patel, who doesn't have enough time to secure the evidence turned over, but he and his snarky little petulant staff has all the time in the world to respond most disrespectfully to Candace. So we'll see what happens. Let me see if I can say this the easiest way. Whoever the bad guys really are, and we can argue all day long about who they are and that sort of thing, but the bad guys are going to be wondering, how in the hell did this ever happen? Let me explain this in a very interesting way. As to Tyler, and this is an interesting thing here, Tyler was never supposed to be here. Tyler was never supposed to be with us. Tyler was never supposed to have survived this. And there's a lot of angry people who are saying, why is he here? Why is he here? Why isn't he dispatched? Why? Can anyone tell us this? Because if you remember correctly, there were two different versions of his statement. This is very important. Two different versions. One version of his statement that he was supposedly made says something to the effect of, I'm not going, and I cannot live in a prison. I cannot possibly survive. I can't do this. In fact, Stephen Salty says, nothing adds up yet. We can't ask questions. That's right, which is a good point. But the first one was, I can't make it. Goodbye, cruel world. It was almost like he was inviting SBDs by cop. It was almost like writing the underlying story for this. See? But for some reason, he's alive. Therefore, they went to the first story, which they had to cobble together and shoehorn in, which doesn't make any sense. What do I mean? First, they want you to believe that Tyler decided to turn himself in to the police and not confess. Who turns themselves into the police and not confess? You ever heard about that before? Now, sometimes, in this case, I think this is more like this. If you know someone is looking for you, if there is a warrant out for your arrest, you turn yourself in because, especially in this case, somebody told them, if you don't turn, the only way you're going to make it alive is in prison, in custody. If you're out there alone, they're going to meet you and they're going to claim you threatened them. And they're going to claim you said, don't take me alive, to quote Steely Dan. And they're going to do all this thing. And you're not going to see tomorrow. So if you're smart, Tyler, and this is what I think happened maybe with his parents or the friend. Remember the sheriff who quit? I don't understand this. Anyway, retired very quickly. They said to him, you better turn your ass in now because you're going to wake up one morning. There's going to be these red dots all over you, all over these dots. And you might not make it. So for whatever it's worth, he outsmarted them, whether deliberately or inadvertently. So now they have this stupid story where he supposedly told his gay, fuzzy roommate, lover, trans, whatever, Luna or Junebug or whatever the nickname was. He supposedly said, don't tell anybody about this, but I'm writing this to you in a text. I'm leaving notes and I'm on Discord. Does that make any sense to you? Does that make any sense to you? And I would say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, they want you to believe that he wrote this. They're just going to tell you, well, it's his name. Did they authenticate it? What do you mean? Did they authenticate it? With all that's going on in the world today, with all the legislation, with all the attempts, with all of the legislation and government control that is being directed at and near AI and the like, do you think somebody would say, hey, listen, Discord, Datcord, X, whatever it is, do you think you might want to win some favor with us? Yeah. We're going to give you a bunch of things to write. Can you make it look like he wrote this? They can say, sure. Now, granted, you might have other people who are going to say, wait a minute, because remember, they're on phones and this is going to show up and they're going to say, wait a minute. I don't remember this. Are you going to show? Is there a screenshot before? He wasn't saying this. He wasn't revealing all this stuff. He wasn't saying all of this. We don't understand what it's never going to be disputed. Nobody's ever going to call in somebody from Discord or Apple or whatever and say, no, we can't authenticate. It's too complicated. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, they're going to tell you that he wrote this. And I'm going to ask you, let me show you some of his writing. This is what he's written before. Look at this. LOL, emoji. This guy writes like he's retarded, with all due respect to the retarded. He can write. Hemingway, he ain't. But yet, they want you to believe that all of a sudden he wrote like this. He wrote these impassioned screeds and these long sentences. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They want you to believe this. And then the prosecution is going to be there saying, why didn't they get to this guy? We weren't supposed to be here. We didn't plan for this because everybody else got it. The guy in Butler, Luigi Mangione, made it, but he wasn't. He was a different one. But all of the other people, all of the people who are responsible for very serious attempts, right? The Butler guy you knew nothing about. I mean, just nothing. And there's no investigation. He was supposed to be gone. And a lot of people are saying, we want, and if there is not a bounty on his head now, Tyler, then there isn't sunshine. If you think this guy has any chance of making it to his 20th, 30th birthday, they will get him with noose on a bun. They will be able to introduce a variety of seemingly innocuous foodstuffs and water, and everything's fine. He's terrific. And then one day he drinks something and some interaction, and boom, he's gone. It's the black art of poisoning. They've been doing this forever. They might do an Epstein. They've already done the Watch, which he wasn't at all. And I'm seeing a less than enthusiastic defense on his lawyer's part. Aren't you seeing that as well? Okay, so that's that. That is that. Next, I'm going to throw in as many things as possible. What did you think of the UFC match at the White House? Was this a good thing for the president or not? What do you think? Was it good or wasn't it good? Was it good or wasn't it good? What do you think? Somebody says no. Ooh, somebody says it will be the medical treatments that they give you. That could very well be. The UFC match. What do you think? Not? Okay, let me tell you what some people are saying. As crazy as it sounds, the people who don't like Trump, doesn't matter. See, Lone Wolf says it was awesome. Very good. Many people believe that this did wonders in terms of connecting him to what they did to Sean Strickland. I don't even know what's going on with that one. Did you see about that? That is the one that, this is where I'm losing my mind. Sean Strickland escorted out of the UFC event at a White House. Police say his presence caused disorder. He was arrested. Why he was kicked out of the UFC? Was he arrested? Leading into the highly anticipated UFC 250 card, middleweight champ Sean Strickland drew some attention for his claims that he was banned from the event. But on Sunday, Strickland was still in D.C. He filmed himself walking through a fan festival. Was he arrested? They say no. Maybe he was. Looks like he was arrested. I don't want to get the particular quote. What did he say? Okay. Dana White says he wasn't banned. Okay. Let me see this. He supposedly said he was banned, he said, sarcastically said that he wasn't Israeli enough to attend. He later alleged he was sworn by fans and had to be saved. He's done this before. Okay. This is going nowhere because they're going to say he wasn't arrested. It was disorderly. It had nothing to do with, okay. That is not what people think. That is not what people think happened. That is not the perception. The perception is, and this is the most important, the perception is that it's because of Israel. Okay. Nobody's going to worry about that. Nobody is going to be thinking about that. Nobody is going to be worried about that. Okay. Now, the new one is the UFC fighter who insulted Michelle Obama. Okay. Less than 24 hours after a UFC fighter used a highly publicized White House match to lob a false insult, this is CNN, at First Lady Michelle Obama, Ultimate Fighting Champion, and President Dana White called it nasty and false, dismissing it as nonsense. And what happened? President Donald Trump was seen smiling Sunday after UFC fighter Josh Hokett made a false and offensive remark about the former First Lady during his post-fight speech at the White House. Hokett praised Trump for hosting the fight before adding, and lastly, Michelle Obama is a man. Am I right? America. Okay. This is driving people crazy. Here is my question for you. Do you believe that Michelle Obama is a man? Do you? Not whether you approve. Deep down. Be honest. Don't say something that you think you've got to say. Don't say because you think it'd be the most whatever. Tell me what you really believe. I mean, believe like you believe it's Tuesday, depending upon where you are. Do you really think 100% that she is a man? Do you think that? Now, Brigitte Macron, that's a different story. Again, Michelle, Candace has investigated this more than I have. But this was stated and said by a host of people for a longer period of time, actually using things other than she looks weird or she, you know what I mean? Or she looks. There were people and books and authors, again, allegations. I personally don't know. It's different. Somewhere along the line, when it came to Michelle Obama, people just, it was about the way she looked. She was big or muscular or whatever it was. But if there was anybody who said, "Oh no, you don't understand. I knew her, and and her name was Michael or Jake or whatever," I never heard that. I never heard it. Well, we didn't really see her pregnant, and somebody said, she had IVF after miscarriage. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. She's carrying the baby. IVF doesn't mean a surrogate pregnancy. So I am telling you right now, and on my honor, on the Constitution, on the flag, I swear on the flag, I've never seen evidence of this. I know there are things people say. I know there are things. I've heard stories all the time about Richard Gere. I don't know where the hell that came from. I don't even think it's. There's no evidence. Who said that? Well, and always starts with this. I knew somebody whose mother was a nurse. She was in an emergency room. Remember the Rod Stewart story? Even more crazy. Then when I was a kid, I heard that Gomer Pyle, Jim Nabors, and Rock Hudson were married. And I remember the time thinking, those are two men. It never materialized, but people just swore to it. It's like the Streisand effect. So what I'm saying is, the burden's on you. If you think could it happen, be true? Sure, it could be true. Of course, anything could be true. But you've got to come up with something. Now, what they'll do is, Joan Rivers said this right either before or shortly before, or sometime during this ENT or plastic surgery or whatever. And they say, aha. Without going into detail, without going into the facts of that case, were absolutely, positively litigated. And I know, and I can't go into detail for various reasons, but litigated professionally, civilly, administratively, licensing, name it. And believe me, if anybody could have come along and say, "Hey, don't look at me, somebody whacked her," there's no evidence of that either. None. It just does. I know she said that. Joan Rivers is famous for saying things. Remember Joan Rivers' 9/11 joke? She was a part of that first one. She loved saying things. Okay, fine. Now, if you think that means something, you go ahead and you think whatever you want. I'm telling you right now, if I brought you and said, "Okay, sit down, state your name for the record. Here's $1 million. Tell me why you say that." Where's the proof? If it's proof, let's talk about it. Wouldn't that be great? Seriously, do you know what this would be? If you could tell me, forget Benjamin Harrison and all this stuff. Okay. If you could prove to me that a former first lady was a man, oh my God, it'd be the greatest story ever. I'm all ears. Tell me. Well, I believe it. No. Tell me how. Tell me. I'm waiting. Well, Joan Rivers, forget Joan Rivers. That's it. No, that's not going to work. I would love for this to be true. This would be the greatest story. My God. Do you know what this would like? This would be something for the ages. So what I'm telling you is this, and I want you to understand this, And I mean this. I mean this with all my heart. I think that'd be great. There's all kinds of stories of, well, Obama too. Prove it. Let's go. I'm all for that. I've no problem with it. None. But rumor's no fun. I don't, it's like, okay. Could be. Could be. Could be. Sometimes people say, well, do you ever see any pictures of her pregnant? Do you ever see pictures of Laura Bush pregnant or anybody pregnant? Why would we see these pictures of the pregnant? I don't know. I mean, it is so interesting. If you think that story was big, do you remember when people suggested, and it just went away, and there was no proof of it or whatever, but that they suggested that Beyonce was faking her pregnancy? Do you remember that one? Now that was interesting. There were pictures, and there was some type of an abdominal balloon or something that was going to. It was a great story. Went nowhere. Go, yeah, but at the time there was a surrogate, and this was a surrogate. Okay, who? We know. Okay. All right. Could be. So and I mean this, and I'm not saying this to be I'm not trying to say this to be cruel, but one of the things that Candace does so well, and you always say this, is that show us the receipts. She brought the receipts. I like that. I like proof. And it's just, I mean, I'll give you another one. In a weird way. There are people that you'll never know, but we know a lot of people in show business. Mrs. L in particular. She's been around show business. She was a kid. Broadway and movies and disco, you name it, all this. And New York was like, wow. Do you know how long we heard about Bruce Jenner? Do you remember about Bruce Jenner? Remember? Well, Bruce Jenner is still a man. I don't want to get into the semantics of this, but I do not believe he has a penectomy or an orchiectomy or a castration or anything along those. He's still a man. He's a man. But he's had some surgery done, some cosmetic stuff, maybe some estrogen, maybe some hormonal, maybe they shaved his thyroid cartilage or his Adam's apple, whatever they did. But from what I understand, he's still intact, as they say. Okay. But way before this happened, she knew, I knew, we knew that he was either going to come out or was a woman or transitioning. And people said to us, you are out of your mind. And we said, no, everybody is saying this. And they said, no, you're crazy. Now today, because people say, and they would say, don't you understand? He was in a Wheaties box. Well, there you go. He won the decathlon. So, but he's married. Remember that one? So, yeah. And he's got some kids with Kris Kardashian. Okay. So what I'm trying to tell you was that turned out to be true. Now, what kind of transition? I don't know if that counts or whatever. But what I'm telling you, there's a lot of good stuff. Now, prior to that, it was like where we are with this. It was rumored by people in the know. So it could be. There could be somebody who comes out. We've heard all this kind of stuff. But ultimately, I think Bruce pretty much took care of the proof now as it is. There are stories, I'm not going to mention the names, but there are people, give an example, in the 50s, earlier, but sometimes when baby girls were born, sometime Sometimes their external genitalia were engorged. Engorged genitalia, which is the name of my high school garage band. The engorged genitalia. And sometimes it would appear, which later on now they don't do anything, but the clitoris might have been would have appeared, or external genitalia may have appeared to be either engorged, different, enlarged, misshapen, something, which led some doctors to say, we have to do something. You have to nip this in the bud. It's a terrible pun. I just realized, that's terrible because it is a bud. Anyway, it's terrible. And that there were people who are women, but were maybe men, and who knows? Anyway, who knows? Those stories are no way to figure it out, no way to bring it up, can't prove it. So what I'm saying is there's all this stuff that's out there. The number of actors who have been closeted, the top 3 that I've always heard, and people in the know always say, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it. And then later on you go, oh. And you say, well, why would somebody go through that? Because it was a different time. So what I'm saying is this. If you want to talk about rumor, that's kind of like these shifty people and some of these TMZ-ish kind of, they don't even do that. Because what they should have done, they should have locked down and shut down Michael Jackson when they knew about this freak forever. But they didn't do it, up to and including the parents who let their kids sleep with this perv. So what I'm saying to you is this. I believe in proof. This could be true. So just remember something. It's very easy to be home, I'm just saying, or in your car, or on your phone, and goes, yes, 100%, Michelle Obama's a man. How do you know this? Well, because Joan Rivers. Stop making, what is this Joan Rivers connection? What? Am I missing something? Well, she said it and then she died. Okay, so that means she was right? Huh? I keep asking this question. Maybe you can help me. If you want to off somebody, why do you do it in prison and they do it? Or in surgery? Or why don't you just they just go away? I don't understand it. We have to always ask sometimes proof is a very strange thing. Give you an example. Sometimes in faith, people will ask you, well, prove there's a God. And you may not be able to show pictures, but you have to go with what's in your heart. And you have to go with what you feel. And you have to, there are certain things, it's just life. How do you know you love your wife or your husband? How do you know they love you? There's some things in life you just have to take as faith. That's all I'm saying. But let me stop right now. Let me stop. What is happening now is step back and watch. In the world that we're involved in, there is this movement. And when the subject comes up, the scrums start, the murmurations start, the birds fly differently, and all of a sudden we're talking about Michelle Obama. And if you ask me, do you think, somebody said, do you think that Mitch McConnell's a woman? Would I say, no, I don't think so? Or would I say, I don't have an opinion? I don't know what to say. People are always saying, Lindsey Graham. Is Lindsey Graham, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. How do I know anything? You see, what I'm trying to say is, there's this thing about, what do I feel? What do I get? And this is kind of where the defamation thing comes in. What you feel, what you think, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. But we always have to ask ourselves, we need proof of stuff. I'm sorry, I'm just old fashioned. There's some things where there's a lot of proof out there. And one of the things that there's going to be proof of is what they found or didn't find in Charlie Kirk's neck. What was it? Because there's no proof that that gun fired anything. That Mauser 98, nothing. That's why the dogs didn't smell it. That's why they didn't say it. You understand this? That's why the dogs never, they could smell a fish fart. I keep telling you this, but they didn't. Not to mention, with the Mauser, in that particular safety, you can't flip it open to shoot with a telescopic rifle there. So I'm telling you. And if I had to put my money, I'm saying it doesn't look like there's evidence that Tyler Robinson did anything. You want to talk about evidence? You want to talk about this, Erica? What are you going to link? What did he shoot with? What? Well, he was taking apart the rifle. The rifle, this is my lint brush. There's no evidence this fired anything either. So, Erica, since you are an expert all of a sudden, you're always crying, wearing the hat. By the way, you think this is Calvin Klein? People like that? I don't know. But anyway, what are you going to say about this? What are you going to say? What? How did Tyler Robinson fire? What did he fire? Where? Where is the rifle? There is a Mauser 98 that surprisingly was found that's got his DNA that you can't link because it wasn't fired. How are you going to say you want a speedy trial for what? Erica, let me ask you a question. Put down the Kleenex and stop crying. And be a woman, grow a pair, and do me a favor. Frankly, with all due respect, shut the fuck up. Stop crying. We got it. You're crying. I understand it. I'm saying we've had it. You're an adult. You're running $1 billion business. Enough. If you're not able to do the commercial or the interview, whatever it is, stay home. Don't talk. We're getting tired of it. It's old. It's a joke. Okay? I don't even believe these. It's so funny that this letter you read was exactly in your words. My babies and how that. Anyway, just do me a favor. How did Tyler shoot anything? Answer the question. You want a speedy trial? You want a speedy trial? For what? Let's talk about evidence. I'm talking about evidence. You tell me how Tyler Robinson shot anything. Anything. Tell me. We talk all day long about this and that. This guy's in prison, or in jail, I should say. He's waiting trial. And Kash Patel won't even give him the information they've been asking since September, but he's got time to answer immediately, have one of his little petulant, impudent little imps write Candace letter. But what did he do? There's no evidence of this. Period. Okay? That's number one. Number two, Erica, where's the confession? Why didn't he confess to the cops? He confessed to people on Discord. He confessed to his lesbian, transgender, male, whatever it is, roommate. Lance writes all this stuff down. Why? He uses phrases. He's like a Robert Browning. The way he's writing, it was full sentences and commas and periods. Normally, he barely gets out a sound. He abbreviates. He has an emoji. What are you doing? Where is the confession? Where? So you don't have a rifle, and you're not going to have a confession. So you're going to turn to that jury. You want a speedy trial. You want a speedy trial for somebody with no evidence of anything? How do you think he's going, how they're going to prove this? Why aren't you doing some of your Christian handiwork? Because you're now uber Christian. But why don't you come forward and say, now, wait a minute. Why haven't you given the defense this information? If I'm here for justice, which I think you are, why don't you do the right thing rather than forgiving him, whatever the hell that means, which is fine. But also jump in and say, where is the evidence? Did he do this? Was there or was there not evidence that you possess that shows this rifle was fired? Do you have any rifle that was fired? Number two, what did you find in Charlie's neck? If you're finding pieces of microphone, that hard plastic, if you're finding microscopic identifiable fragments of an explosive consistent with what Candace is intimating, no, that's what we should be talking about, because that's the proof I'm interested in. Because the same people who say, oh, he did it, and I'm saying, with what? Oh, I know he did it. Why? Oh, I just know. Are the same people who say, I think Michelle Obama's a man. Why? Well, because she's kind of big. You can't have it both ways. You can't demand proof of one. You can say, well, but listen, Michelle Obama is public opinion. This is different. That's true. That's true. His public opinion is different. But the bottom line is simply this. We've got so much that is happening right now. And I'm telling you right now, we are also looking at a group of voters. We never talk about this. Whatever happened to immigration? Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to immigration? Are there people still in this country? Remember, 3 things Trump said, very important. Drain the swamp, build a wall, lock her up. Well, we're not going to lock up Hillary, and I don't think we drain the swamp, whatever that means. Do we have a wall? Did we just stop the wall? Did we stop the wall? Did we stop the wall? And if so, why? Number 2, how many people are here now? Number 3, did we just disband ICE? Are we done with that? What's going on here? And what they do is, I know it's just fun, but in a weird way, they kind of love when we talk about Michelle Obama. Or we talk about, I don't know what else, some other thing. Because it's like this wonderful distraction. And it's interesting for a while, and it's fun, but it's the same old circular argument. You see what they're doing to us? They don't want you to pay attention to what's going on. Michelle Obama doesn't matter, one way or another. I'll talk about that later. It's interesting, but not this interesting. Okay? And another thing, I want you to pay attention. They're going to try something with Candace. I don't know what. I don't mean, but they are going to sit around and somebody has said, are we going to let this dame just derail everything? She's won everything. And you know that the case with Brigitte Macron, that case is going nowhere. It will be dismissed with prejudice. They'll make some settlement, NDA, and they'll tell Candace, and I would advise her, look, just, okay. It just goes away. Why tee it up? Who knows? Candace may say, no, I've got some evidence. I'm going to prove it. Okay. All I know is that case isn't going anywhere. You're not going to see day 3 of the Brigitte Macron case. She flashes her goods at the judge. No, it's just not going to go anywhere. Because somebody's going to be saying, this woman will just, because what will happen, and the reason why it'll be dismissed, because she will unleash a torrent of shit. And her fans will come out of nowhere, and Brigitte will say, make this go away. Is this a shotgun episode? Scattered information? A shotgun episode Scattered information. I do not know what that means, but thank you. You see what I'm saying? This is the next thing that's going to happen. So my concern is, what do you think is going to happen? Are they going to be satisfied? Because Candace is building a momentum. And I think we've got to be ready, and she's got to be ready, because keep us at bay, pick your battles carefully, because you know they're just waiting for something. Because she has made a fool out of them. A fool. Absolutely, positively. Ben Shapiro, he's done. She destroyed Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro doesn't exist. He's invisible. He's gone. He just doesn't. Mark Levin. What? You see how Megyn Kelly is still trying to say, what am I? She's going to talk to J.D. Vance. You know, I appreciate this. Is like, Megyn, now you know Megyn Kelly can't go in for the kill. Remember when she went after Trump and she said something to the effect of, you call women pigs, and all. I mean, she tried to really, and he talked about her bloody stuff. I don't know. You know, you can't interview, if you're not going to really ask J.D. Vance everything about Palantir and Peter Thiel, what are you doing? She can't do that. She'll never get the gig again. So she's got to make an agreement. She's already made an agreement. Don't talk about this. Okay. Because she figures I've got the deal. Because she's of the feeling that if she has J.D. Vance on, her stock will be elevated. We don't give a shit about J.D. Vance. We don't care about J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance isn't going to say anything. Usha's still talking about the fact that we were going to have a baby because of Charlie and all this. Like, what are you talking about? Remember the picture of, remember Erica Kirk with Charlie? With J.D. grabs his back of his head and J.D., whatever his name is. This is, so it's about to get real. So what I'm saying is keep your powder dry and make sure we focus on stuff that really matters. It's kind of fun, but it's of no consequence. The real stuff is Charlie. Justice for Charlie. Period. End of discussion. And what Candace is doing is she's following that. That's where she's going. She's also going to TPUSA to find out, are they responsible for anything? TPUSA is good. It's just so, it's like not even fair anymore. Nobody even cares about that. When she goes on the Robert Caddis show, again, with the crying, it's like, enough with stop with the crying. Stop it. Nobody does this. It's like, are you okay? You come across like you're a nut. Not that you're hurt, but it's like 9 months and you're breaking down. It's like, I don't think you can handle this. And if I'm that bored, I'm going to say, this is our leader? Can you imagine Jack Welch or Lee Iacocca or Tim Cook crying every time? Always crying, always breaking down? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. You see where we are? You got it? So all I'm telling you is this. Look at this. Megyn Kelly's piece with with Alephantis. Oh, was a puff piece. Total snake. Don't trust her. You know what Alephantis is? You know what that word is? It's like l'enfant, like the children. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if you look at it sideways, Pizzagate, they just laughed at. They just laughed at it. You think it's funny? I don't think it's funny. In any event, my friends, I thank you. I thank you for this, and I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you so very much. Please do me a great favor. Please do me a favor and make sure that you continue to follow us. Continue to follow us here right now. Like this video. Hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. Thank you so much for your super chats. Thank you so much for your support. Don't forget Friday, Sabby Sabs. And then the 26th, we've got the one, the only, the inimitable, the ineffable Candace Owens. Please follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. We love you. Have a great day, my friends. Seriously, it is such a pleasure being with you. Until then, my friends, remember, the monkey's dead. Show's over, sue you. Da-da.